Welcome back to Genius Days. Today we're talking about reality hopping. What are the ways that we can quantum jump into the reality that we truly prefer? A few disclaimers: make sure you're 18 and over, make sure you don't break any laws, don't steal any of this, give us credit. If you learn something new, that's great. Let them know that Genius Days sent you, and let's get started. So, hopping realities. It's interesting. Reality is way more malleable than we think it is. Of course, we have objective reality, but our subjective reality changes the objective reality. Like, let's say we see a homeless person, right? Now, the way that that person is dressed, we just think because of the collective consciousness believes that a man with a very big beard and scruffy clothing and like dresses in this specific way is homeless, right? Now, what if I took a hipster right next to him and he's dressed in a similar way? See what I'm saying? So the thing about it is really understanding that it's what the cultural norm is that determines the reality. So if a lot of people agree with something, that's what shifts the reality. This is why manifesting in a group, in a large tribe, is really, really important. And that's why clear goals for a group, like really sincere values and a mission is really important in when it comes down to manifestation. What do you guys think of this?
Facts, nigga. Like I still remember at the time we went to Vegas and you were using um Facebook group accounts for people to also be pushing out that idea into the universe. And that idea was just pushed out so much by so many people that you go into Vegas that it happened. And it literally happened. It literally happened you got your flight tickets like literally the day before. And I remember the week before I was I had just bought the tickets, right? And they were like on sale, all right? Like because they were like the super, super early bird before they even sold them to anybody type of thing. And I bought them and I got 2 tickets. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna call Soom. And he was like, Soom, you want to go? And Soom was like, yeah, let's go. All right. So that's the backstory. And then I'm on Facebook. I was on Facebook, right? I'm on Facebook Live, and I'm like, bro, I'm going to Vegas. I'm going to Vegas, gonna go study with RSD, gonna go see what's up over there. And I don't have the money. I don't have a whole lot of money to make it happen, but I know it's coming somehow. I know it's gonna be there. I know we're gonna be all right. And what the fuck happened? We were just fucking all right the whole time. We never had anything that we didn't need. We always had what we needed.
What's so cool about that was we spoke about Vegas as if it was just a certainty, like it's going to happen no matter what. And I think that's what really shifted it is we morphed our language around it. Because I remember at first when you called me, I was like, I don't know, man. I don't know if I have the money. I don't know if my parents are gonna be okay with that. Like all the fucking excuses in the world, right? But after a certain point, like in my mind, I had just been so determined that it just clicked. I was like, yeah, I'm fucking gonna do it, you know? Uh, and that decision started a ripple effect where I bought the ticket. We ended up finding housing like for real cheap, like on Airbnb or whatever, right? And like, yeah, we remember when we
$30 a day. Hey, $30 a day.
bro, remember when we showed up to the first place and then we couldn't get in and you were like, yo, like let's break into this motherfucker, right? And you were like trying to like we couldn't get in. Like the universe was actually giving us so much resistance, right? It was like, yo, like we thought we showed up to some wrong place or whatever.
Dude, yeah. And then I remember some guy was like, hey, I asked for some directions. He's like, oh, you guys like to party? And I was like, oh yeah, man, we're here in Vegas. We're having a good time. And he's talking about fucking coke and shit. I was like, bro, fuck out of here.
Yeah, man. Anyway, yeah, that's just a great example of reality hopping, right? In manifestation. And
Hey, bro, and this is the thing though. This is the thing. Like, from that time that we're there, like we're still friends with a lot of the people that we met there. And then Max, he signed up to writing reality, right? And so it's almost like writing reality is the event that we got. So if we're talking about reality hopping, we have to take into account that we do things together. Like, it's like, if I'm the only one with that reality, I'm delusional, right? If someone's the only person wearing a hoodie and everybody else has a jacket and a fucking and a knit hat, I'm gonna the person that's starting the hoodie trend, they're gonna look weird, right? But if everyone else is wearing hoodies, starting to wear hoodies, if all the cool people are like, let's just say back then, celebrity, nobody was wearing hoodies, and then all the celebrities, they start wearing hoodies, right? They're like, oh, it's like a scarf and a beanie at the same time and a jacket. Then you like, and then everybody's like, oh, this is cool, right? So we do things together. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, man. And another thing that I noticed is really important for reality hopping is elevated emotions. Like, you want your emotions to be high, at a high vibration, right? And intention plus elevated emotions equals manifestation, if we're looking at it like a math equation. So we have an intention in mind, but if we don't have the elevated emotions, like we were super excited to go to Vegas, you know what I mean? And that elevated emotions helped the end product or the end goal and result when we showed up. So yeah, elevated emotions is very important when it comes down to quantum jumping.
It's true. Even Dr. Joe Dispenza, he speaks about that. And his basically, like, if you follow his meditations, they're gonna put you in a state of elevated awareness, right? And then, like, if you can sustain that elevated awareness throughout your day, well, then you manifest it, right? You see, so my belief system, the one that I follow, is called reality surfing, right? So that's my belief system about what is in the universe. It's like, you can call it my religion. It's not a religion though, because obviously you don't pray to anybody or anything like that. But it's just an acknowledgement, right? That all the realities exist at once, all the futures exist at once, all the past exist at once, right? And how they explain in quantum physics that, like, it's like the multiverse theory, that like at any given moment there is a million possibilities that could be occurring for that moment. There's a reality right now where I grab my mic, reality right now where I got a phone call, reality right now where just a fucking table just breaks, reality where dinosaurs are still here, right? And so like a woolly mammoth just, like, walking in the street. And so we take that idea, right? And then we come back to the now, and we're like, okay, what do I want? What do my deepest desires direct me to, right? And then you tap into that frequency. You can see that frequency, you can feel that frequency, you know that's real. And now you can hold on to it. And if you hold on to it for a few days, for a few weeks, boom, then you will be that the world around you will shift to that reality. But you have to sustain that frequency, right? And what was going to happen is, like, you're going to start getting tested, we can call it, right? Like, oh, do you really believe that you're here now? Do you really believe that you're here now? And then that's when you come up with, like, you use your deductive reasoning, right? I got down using fancy words and shit. You use deductive reasoning and you go, okay, well, I'm going to respond from it, right? From the frequency. I'm going to respond from the frequency that I want. So like you have to become formless and then take the form that you want. This is why in the meditations that we do, I call it 0.0. Point like identityless. Point like who am I? Can be whoever the fuck I want to be. But I'm just chilling. Until the point that I decide who I want to be, then I'll be that person. But at this point, I'm just chilling. Right? And that's 0.0. Yeah. What do y'all think about that? Like reaching like a point of like zeroness. Even though I hold a 1 up, it's also a 0.
I like the idea of many things can represent many things, you know? Because in one moment, we are everything and nothing at the same time. It's like what the Buddhists say, return to nothingness. Because have you ever noticed that it's very similar to when an event happens, like you're being attacked, especially start from the most neutral stance possible so that all the options of defense and countering are possible. What if it's the same with manifesting? You understand what I'm saying? So if there is a situation or there is a thing like many multiverses being available, then I need to be open to all of them, because I don't get to decide per se what is the best in the then and there. Am I correct in that understanding, Alejandro?
Somewhat.
Okay.
I'd say somewhat. I'd say that the part that you're missing is that you do know what is best for you and which one to take at any given moment, because all the answers that you'll ever need are within you, you know? So it's kind of like, you know, this sort of belief system is a little bit more like, it's like, yeah, God, I let God take the wheel, right? And so that's why I don't call it for this, I don't call it manifesting. I call it alignment, right? I don't call it reality creation for this specific thing. I call it because the universe and God is the one that is going to create all of that. That's God's will over there, like creating all of it, all of the systems, all of the worlds. That's God's doing, right? And then just me, it's like up to me, like to which universe, what reality I want to live in. And that's my choice. That's me. That's my free will working along with God's free will. You feel me? Gangster for Jesus.
Yeah, bro. I feel that that's a super interesting concept. And you know when you said about the 0 point, so the way I understand it is almost like if you have an infinity symbol, the 0 point is like the little node like between the infinity. So it's not in that duality. It's like existing as an equal sign. It's almost like a little dot. The little dot, the little node is that 0 point. So when you're in that little dot, you're at the cause point of your life. You can choose whether to go this or A or B or C or D or whatever. And it's interesting. If we want to bring up something really trippy, I mean, I want to talk to you guys about the double slit experiment, because that's what quantum physics shows, is when you observe something, it basically, whether you're watching it or not, it changes from particle to form, right, when it's being watched. So that means when we watch something closely, when we watch our manifestations closely, and we measure it, it's actually changing form as we're doing that. But the moment we take our attention away from it, it actually disappears, right? Like the manifestation actually disappears. So that's why like there's certain one-hit wonders that come out of there, and you're like, oh damn, like, you know, T-Pain had that song, Bartender, like that was lit, but then he stopped making music after a while, you know? And it's like that. Like Drake as an artist, he's manifester because he keeps making music. You know what I mean? And so I think the creators or the manifestors are the people who keep out creating, keep producing again and again. And they're the main thing that they're doing is they're putting attention onto that reality. And they have that sustained attention. They, because the moment they, you know, turn their eyes away from it, it disappears. So that's kind of how I see the double slit experiment. But yeah, how do you guys see that?
Ah, well, so how I see it is it looks very similar to, you know, when you're hunting. If your attention isn't on the animal isn't concerned. But the moment you start to focus in on it, it freezes and then it runs away usually. I think Ivan is stuck or something. And yeah, this is a continuous thing. His laptop is insane. Anyway, but
Stuck in the timeline, bro. He's stuck in this one timeline.
he's stuck in this one timeline. But as you look at the double slit experiment, you start to see similarities to nature itself. Because as you, let's say, are on the veranda and there's birds landing on the pavement or whatever, the moment you put attention on that bird, it flies away. Because there's a reaction, there's an event being created. And there has to be certain similarities because as like nature books say, like the Hermetic laws, as one thing goes, the other thing has to follow. It's a law of the higher rules usually. So what if it's the same thing in nature? That the more we create towards the things that we want, the more we actually start to create our reality bit by bit. And then you have the similarities between war, business, love, and redesigning your life. Everything starts from an objective and reaching that objective. So what do companies do? They have very specific goals, very specific strategies to reach those goals, and then projects to help those strategies, be it their marketing, the sales, their recreating and rebranding of the product, and or building a community around the product or service is the same thing. So what if we could start a tribe towards getting a very specific life? Isn't that what IMC Nation created was?
That's what's up.
That was
I want to talk about Buddhism for a second.
all right.
I want to say Buddhism, you guys don't know shit. You guys don't know nothing.
All right,
I'll
do
tell
tell. School
I'll,
me.
I'll tell you. I'll tell you. Oh, you're Buddhist? All right, I'll tell you why, bro.
I'm not Buddhist,
Fir-
but I am wearing the
fir-
beads.
First things first. They say desire is the root of all suffering.
Makes sense.
No, it's not true. The root of all suffering is attachment. Desire is your inner compass that directs you to your innermost wants, to your innermost wanting to create, right? And I'm gonna add this one in here. When you're desiring something, it means that there's a version of you that already has it. Would you look at that, Steve?
Would you look at that? Well, golly.
So I want to make a distinction between what is manifesting, what is reality creation, and what is reality surfing, right? So manifesting has a lot to do with actual creation. Like I'm a creator here. Like we put together Genius Days. We manifested that shit. Nobody else did that. God didn't do that. God didn't create Zoom. You know, although we can say, of course, that we are all individual fragments of God. I agree with that. But the highest just created the space, and then we did the creation here, right? That's manifesting. man, I fast. I'm having I'm playing. It's a festival. I'm having fun here. All right, as I create. Reality creation, the definition has to do more with how I see things, right? How you label things, how you interpret things, how you experienced it, and how it becomes a part of your identity. And then reality surfing is all about hopping into different identities. Y'all feel that? Y'all feel that? Right. So we can use all these terms, right? But like I just wanted to clarify, like, like that they're all different and that they all have their own place, So reality surfing has a lot more to do with alignment than all of them. You have to be in alignment with that reality first. You know how we say you don't get what you want, you get what you are. That's exactly what that means.
So if I understand
Go
correctly,
ahead.
in order to reality surf, you need to be in alignment with what you want to be, thus being that reality, correct? Got it.
So both reality surfing and reality creation has to do with the identity. Yeah.
I think, except the reality creation has to do with like getting to the specific. It's almost like so like it's like we have be, do, have, right?
Mhm.
And so like be would be more like my I'm gonna change my state of being, and that's gonna be like reality surfing. And then reality creation is gonna be like I'm experiencing this in my life. So I'm going to like this is what I have. This is what I have now, right? And this is what has formed my reality, and I want to change what I have, right? And then like manifest is like do. It's about the doing. It's about the actual action itself, right? About you literally taking action and doing things in the world.
Yeah, that's really a great way to put it for the be, have, do. Yeah, that makes more sense. Man, it's interesting because a lot of people, like, let's say in a particular religion, let's say, right? There is not really an understanding of specific archetypes that much. I mean, I know that there's like in the Bible, there's like different characters, right? Or in Buddha's teachings, there are different characters and archetypes that show up again and again. However, this idea of creating our own archetype, I think that comes from spirituality and like exploring a little deeper than these tropes that a sacred text gives us. You know what I mean? Like if you want to create your own character, you don't necessarily have to go with that character of like the prince, like the pauper who turned into a prince, let's say, like which is the Buddha, right? Or I mean the prince who turned into a pauper as well. That's the Buddha, right? It's like backwards.
Sorry,
we
bro.
don't.
What's a popper? What's a popper?
It's like a poor, like a beggar, like someone who is in poverty, basically. So I mean, he wasn't technically a pauper, you know what I mean? He just gave up the worldly pleasure, the material wealth, and he went into deep meditation. So again, he didn't really give up his. I mean, he surrendered his like luxurious castle or wherever he stayed, but it's a different kind of mentality in that way. But anyway, I'm saying that through spirituality, we can actually take these archetypes and start to activate these different archetypes through surfing these different identities, and then creating those identities as we're surfing them. We're also interpreting them in our own way, and then eventually we're doing the actions that identity would do, right? And so this wave becomes almost like a frozen wave over time, right? It's like okay, I'm surfing on this wave, but then that wave kind of morphs into something, and then as it morphs into something, then we can sort of like chip away at it to create the perfect wave. So that's kind of the way that I see it. I know that's a very abstract way of describing it, but do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, bro, because you don't usually chip at a wave. That's what but like I get what you're saying, like, but though it's just like I still got you though. Like I still get, that's the thing, I still got you though, bro. Like I think maybe you could say you can grab some buckets and like
No, no, no. Like I mean that we freeze the wave, right? So it becomes ice now. So now it's like an ice sculpture, and then you can chip, right?
If
But
I'm
based,
understanding correctly, Sumit, it's like you're using the force of the universe in your own creative way. Is that what you're getting at?
explain what you mean by that.
So the way I interpreted it was, as the waves are coming in, you can choose to freeze it and shape the waves in whatever image you have. Thus, the universe representing the continuous onslaught of creative energy, and thus you can choose to use that creative energy in positive ways, very similar to, let's say, a random girl jokes about you being a creep, accidentally triggering an insecurity, but you being smarter about it, using this insecurity energy as a more secure energy, just going back, man, you're funny. And then the game continues, thus now you created a new play. Is that what you meant?
Yeah, you're describing almost like alchemy in a sense, right? You're like,
Well, you unless you're Sub-Zero. Because that's what alchemy is, isn't it?
yeah,
It's catching the waves and transforming those waves as if you're both the operator of the machine and the machine itself, which leads
right.
us to almost a Michael Singer way of thinking, Also, Felix, welcome to the call. And as we get this, we start to realize that all events that happen are not evil nor good, but it's in the way that we respond to it in alignment to the reality that we want.
Yeah, and it's
Because,
context as well, right?
yeah, but what if it is true that the universe wants the best for us? Yeah, if that is true, and if it is true that we want the best reality for ourselves, then logically every event that the universe pushes towards us means we're that much closer to the reality that we want.
Exactly.
Right? Thus, the waves would represent any event. Thus, the freezing represents your response, and the recreation of the wave into a sculpture of your choosing becomes the way you shape that current reality.
Yeah, and like God or the universe is giving us these waves. They're not giving us, I mean, we're using the ice to morph the waves, right? But they're just giving us these lots of waves. Like, here you go, here's another wave. But the universe doesn't want to just give us the ice. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It doesn't want to just give us that end result of that block of ice. It wants us to go through the process of learning. And that's why I say that the universe wants to co-create with us. It doesn't want to give us handouts like, yo, here you go. Here's your end result.
Isn't it funny? It's very similar to how a author would write a story. I mean, both you men have written books. Isn't it similar to how a very juicy story needs to have some salt? Meaning the hero or the main character needs that character development where he goes from a whiny bitch to an actual competent hero. And slowly but surely, he has earned our attention. Look at what I'm saying. Earned our attention. He has now earned the attention of the universe. It's very similar to the meta structure of Rick and Morty. Because if you listen to some sub channels, they often say it's like Rick is aware that there are other dimensions watching, meaning us, the viewers. So in order to make this entertaining, there is a necessity to face conflict. There is a necessity to develop character, and thus there's a necessity to be able to reality hop. And as I'm talking, I start to realize, wait a minute, that's what Rick and Morty do. They reality warp. They go from dimension to dimension.
Basically the entire show, yeah.
That is basically the entire show. Who knew we'd be talking about Rick and Morty today?
Like, Rick, yeah, go ahead.
Something I want to mention is like we're the ones who chose the problem. Like we're the ones who want the problems. Like you have to like acknowledge that for yourself, is that like you wanted the problem. Like there's no way around it besides that, because it's more fun. Like, to be honest, it's like it's a surprise. You know what I mean? And if we're always in God form that knows everything about everything and has extreme certainty about everything the way it's going to be, it's kind of boring. But with these problems and this earth life, we get these surprises and we have to be spontaneous and we have to adapt really fast and stuff, and like that's fucking fun. That's just dope, you know what I mean? So it's like that's just God exploring itself through me. You feel that? And so what's up Zoom?
Yeah, man, I had a video on this today, so it's cool that you brought up that exact same concept about changing your relationship to your obstacles, right? And being able to basically, like, we can make those problems smaller in our minds, right, if we choose to. The thing about it is the unknown, it can be an adventure. It doesn't have to be the scary quest that you're on, that it's like, I'm in the dark, I don't know what to do. Hey man, we do fun things in the dark. Some people have sex in the dark, you know what I mean? It's like don't hate on the dark. Like the darkness is where it's at. That's the mystery. That's like most of this is dark matter anyway. So the fact that we're going like, I don't know, and that's a problem, to I don't know, but I love it. And I think that's kind of where the alchemy is, right? Where you're going, hey, I'm unsure what to do in this situation, but I'm going to suspend my disbelief and just learn to enjoy this.
Yeah, bro. So like the way I always tell people is you're gonna get that reality that you want. Like it's just like I know 100% me gonna be rich as fuck. 100% me is gonna have an amazing love life. 100% me is gonna have an amazing family. Is gonna have a lot of land, and I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna coach. This is all. Let me tell you guys about this, right? So I'm gonna be doing, not now, not yet. What's up, Felix? But when I'm ready, I'm gonna be doing like 25K packages, 100K packages, right? And I know I'm gonna be able to do that. Like that, I'm gonna be able to work for a couple of weeks and have enough money to do whatever I want for the rest of the year. Right? That's one reality that is 100% real for coaches. Right? Like if you're at the top of the game, you can charge whatever the fuck you want. Now, I'm close. I know I'm 100% close. I'm like three more years when I'm 28. That's when I feel like I'm really gonna be able to say, yeah, I'm at the top. I'm gonna have a lot more certainty. Now I know for sure like that, like some of the like the world most famous coaches, like their knowledge about reality creation is like way behind like what the fuck I'm even saying. Like they don't even have the concept of reality surfing, right? But like I feel like there's not enough proof in the world yet for people to know that I know. Like I know that I know it, I know that I live it, but there's not enough like evidence to show people like what are you gonna do? Enter my and go inside of my brain? Like that was you're gonna you're gonna touch my forehead and then you're gonna fucking download my energy? Like obviously not, you know. And so that's one reality of wealth. And then there's the other reality of like, oh, I fucking have to start from the bottom and go all the way to the top, right? But my version is go from the top to the bottom versus starting to struggle selling $97 courses, struggling, you know, with the selling a $25 manifestation checklist or whatever the fuck it is. It's like it's so much harder to sell that than to just literally be at the top of the game, charge $100K, charge $1 million for a year, whatever it is. But these are literally two different realities, right? Where like literally the average small business makes like 50K in 6 months. It's not bad. 50K in 6 months is more than what I have now, but it's still like, it's kind of like a long time. It's kind of a long time. Yeah. What's up, Felix? You want to say something?
Sup, man? Yeah, 50K is fucking terrible, man. For a small business. No, it's just bad, man. After taxes and all that, that's like better go work a job. But that's average, and you're not average, nor is pretty much anyone in IMC. So let's not talk average. Yeah, I like your big numbers. You know, big numbers really they inspire me. They incentivize me as well. So
fuck yeah.
Yeah.
And so like one of them would be like, if I was like stuck in this reality and seeing what everybody else is living, I would be over here thinking like, oh, it's gonna be hard, it's gonna be a fucking long journey, it's gonna be fucking a really long time. I'm gonna have to be, you know, 40 years old by the time that I can charge 1K. Oh, 1K. Like 1K is like, it's still not that much, right? And so one of those things is obviously getting used to wealth and learning to manage even the smaller numbers. Because if you can't manage the small numbers, you can't manage the big numbers. You're going to still like end up in the same place, right? And so that's one of my lessons that I know for sure, is that I have to learn how to build my kingdom from the bottom up, even though I'm at the top, right? But I still have to build it, right? And so I have to go through the steps, go through the process, go through the flow. And although we can quantum jump inside of ourselves, because we're in a 3D reality, right? Or well, it's a 4D reality, but we experience it as a 3D reality, right? Time, we're still victims to time. We still have to go through time, literally. Like, so even though your mind can be like, if you're fucking like 100 years old, wise person, and your body will still be here like this, you know, because we're stuck in time. We're stuck in time and space, which is kind of cool to think about that. But it's also kind of scary to think like, oh, fuck, you're kind of like a prisoner to time and space, right? So don't think about it in the negative way, because you're going to go down a negative loop, and then you're going to be taking a shower, and you're going to step out the shower, look at yourself in the mirror, and you're going to start crying. So, you know, I mean, I've had those moments where like, I was like a very, very scary moment of like really realizing like, you know, that this is sort of like a prison. And it really scared me. But what I know now is that nothing can hurt you unless you fear it. Nothing can hurt you unless you fear it. So all these bullshit mandates, all this bullshit, it don't apply. It's just like, it don't apply to me. It don't apply to me because I don't fear it. And if I can't fear it, it can't get to me. Plain and simple.
Bro, Ivan, have you ever read or heard of the Law of One?
Yeah. It's dope.
Yeah. So, man, when I was growing up, man, my mom would always tell me this. Like, she would say, if they can do it, so can you, you know? Like, if one person can do it, so can you. And at first, I kind of write it off. I'd be like, yeah, whatever, right? But now, after going through the law of one, I see how we're all connected, right? So if that person can do it, I'm actually connected to that one person, right? And basically, the way that the law of one describes desire is the fact that if you desire something, the universe will give it to you, right? But a lot of people have a strange idea of what desire actually is. Like, people don't actually know what desire is. And so their recommendation is to go more inwards to just like figure it out, what it means to desire something. And I think Ivan is kind of close towards that understanding of like, desire is not attachment, right? It's something completely different to that. Because attachment is fear. So, yeah, that's what came up for me.
Yeah, I've discovered that like my innermost want is to feel safe. It's my innermost want. I deducted everything. I brought it all down to like one point, right? It was like, why do I want like a fucking Jeep? I want a fucking really badass Jeep, right? Or like a built one, like those that you could fucking survive a fucking hurricane in, I'm like, why do I want millions of dollars? Why do I want to live on a mountain? What do I want money? It's literally just for safety, right? And so I realized that I can give myself that safety internally. And then by being in the alignment of that safety, I can start to attract everything else versus being in the alignment of fear, having fear of not being safe. But at the same time, I also acknowledge that in a way, I'll never be 100% safe. Never be 100% safe. And so, fuck it. I mean, if I'm gonna fucking die, fuck it.
Yeah.
I don't think so. Like, I really don't think so. Like, I really genuinely think that I still have my purpose to fulfill. And God's always like higher forces are always gonna be there for me if some weird shit ends up happening. I already know 100% that the forces are going to be there to protect me and make sure that I'm fine, because those forces are in alignment with me, who want to do something, who is here for a specific mission, and they're going to make sure that I complete my mission. So that's why like, let's say even recently my dad died, right? I hold no sadness about it because I know he completed his mission. And him dying in the way that he did, that was the finale to his mission. That was his final goal, right? And my dad, he always taught me the hard way. He always taught me the hard way. And to me, this is just another one of those lessons that he has contracted himself to help me understand more, and then I can take this understanding and I can bring it to the world, right? And so this is how I have labeled it. Now, is this even true? I think so. I have all the evidence to prove that it is. So it is true then. And it might be not true to somebody else. For me, I'm happy that he's finally back to source. That's essentially what happened. But other people, they're sad that he's gone. Where's he gone? Still here. Life never dies. And that's the mistake that people have, is that life never dies. And so what is God in essence is this force of energy that is just expanding infinitely in every direction, and it has so much momentum that nothing can stop it. It's like if you try to get in the way of a fucking moving car at 100 miles per hour, you're gone. You're not doing anything to it. That's the same thing with the universe. Is this life that never dies, right? And this is this is my belief system. Because at the end of the day, I cannot prove it with facts and a scientific method, and I can't do a double-blind study with 1,000 people, and we can't deduct it the way we do it from science. We just can't. But that's where you internally have to connect with it, right? You have to really connect with the words, connect with that reality. And if you think about it, then it is. And that's it. And that's why I said the other day, your fears already happened, right? Because you're already suffering from them. So don't fear them. What are you guys' thoughts? Or Ryan gonna say something? He's writing.
Facts, bro. Yeah, go ahead, Felix.
Yeah, sick shit, man. I love it. Now let me hit you back with a question I got. Like, when you say don't fear, I'm way behind the IMC philosophy, man, and the beast process and all that. Well, I got soul shit, like 3 months. So I don't know how you covered, if you covered, like the source of fear. When we feel fear, I haven't noticed having any rational, analytical free will to decide whether to fear it or not. It's more of a, scientifically looking, it's a parasympathetic nervous system which reacts without our knowledge. However, many say it's in the mind, and Arash always said it's in the mind. So what do you guys think? Is it in the controllable part of the mind? And I'm just fucking retarded to be playing with myself, fearing shit all the time. So it's a game with myself. Or is there really like a part of an outside reality that impacts?
Yeah, I got you, bro. So essentially the fear comes from uncertainty. That's it. You fear it because you don't know the outcome. And the outcome that might or might not be scares you, because it might prevent you from moving forward in living your life. And so obviously one of those things is like, obviously always live life to the fullest, never hold back what you wanted to say. Always tell people how much you care about them. Wake up with gratitude, right? Be happy that you get to be here, right? Be honest. Don't hold back. As soon as you stop holding back, then you live a fulfilling life, right? That's one of the reasons that I'm still to this moment very happy and very okay with my dad's passing, is because I had the tough conversations with him that needed to happen. I knew they were tough. There were tough conversations that needed to happen, but I didn't hold back, right? And so when he passed, I was like, I said what I needed to say, and I never held back. I didn't hold back how much I cared about him, right? It's like, don't hold back your own love, right? And then so we live by that philosophy. When things that could go wrong, you could die or whatever, obviously, like, come back to a place of certainty, right? What do you know? Yeah, I don't know this, but what do you actually know? And you start to build these little blocks of certainty, to the point where you're so certain, you're so certain that you build a wall that can't be knocked down, right? You feel me? And so, of course, you know, when Araj says it's all in a state of mind, it's because everything is mind. Like this whole world, this whole universe is mind. We're living in the mind of God, right? Why? How do we know this? Well, because if we open up atoms, the smallest particle that which our whole entire body is made out of, and all the tables and all the walls and roads and air and shit is everything's made out of an atom. And you go inside, you find a proton. You go inside the proton in the nucleus, and you know, it's nothing but open air, open space. There's nothing but open space in there. And then you go inside. There's a tiny little a quark. There's a quark up and a quark down. This is as far as we know so far. And we go inside of that. They break it open, and there's nothing but empty space. They haven't found anything else in there yet, right? And so we're literally nothing. Like we're literally mostly just empty space, right? And so like that to me in itself is like, obviously this is an illusion, but it's also not an illusion because I'm living it, right? And so that which is reality only depends on your vibratory frequency, right? What your vibratory frequency is, right? Which essentially is like your song, right? Because like a song has different frequencies playing together. You got the drum, you got the bass, you got the sax, right? You got the vocals, and they're all working in rhythm with each other, even though they're their own independent frequencies. And so essentially that is what you are. You're a bunch of different frequencies together that form the essence of your vibration, right? And so when you shift them, when you shift one, you shift all of them, right? But then there's some that are a bit more stiff, and then we go into the identity here, and we're like, okay, what are the evidence? What is the evidence holding this in place? Why? How do I benefit from this negative thought? How am I benefiting from this negative thought? You know, and like, let's just say I might be angry at somebody at work, you know, and I'm like, how do I benefit from being angry at this person? Well, I get to have this sense of entitlement. I get to have this sense of I'm better than you and you suck, and I get to feel better that way, right? And so we start to like break down why you believe it. What's the evidence behind it? What's the experience? And we basically go back to crucial events in our life, and we re-examine them, and we give them a new name, you know, versus like I you know, as a kid, you ask my mom, my mom or my dad, people in my family, they won't be able to tell you that I went through abuse, but I could tell you 100% that I went through abuse, verbal abuse, physical abuse. You know, the fucking houses, what is it called? Like when like couples are like fighting a lot, it's called like where they're like just like fighting a lot. There's like a word for it. Anyway, like, but they won't see that as abuse. They'll literally just see that as like a normal part of like who they were, right? Obviously, I don't see it that way, but now I can acknowledge it as what it was and use it and be like, hey, that's actually something that built me, because all of the problems that I went through my childhood are like the world's problems, going through intense sense of no self-worth, you know, enmeshment, feeling like, like I'm walking on eggshells, right? And that's literally why I wrote my book. Like, to help people deal with their families and the people around them that are just too negative, that didn't even know that is like some of us that are like we're kind of like we're like, I don't know, I want to call it special people, like a bit more sensitive to energy. You know, we're our environment is very important to us, right? And our environment can definitely affect us. And so we're like aware of how our environment makes us feel versus how other people are not aware, right? And their lack of awareness affects our awareness because we're aware of it, right? It's kind of like you're so smart. Like there's people who are so smart they can put themselves in a bad mental state by just thinking about like, you know, everything. And so essentially that's, you know, so that's the problems that I went through that literally I needed to go through them. Like I needed to, I needed to in order to be able to be here and speak with the certainty that I do and the power that I do. And that's reframing reality, right? What it is.
Man, that's so deep. And I just wrote down a tweet. You inspired me to write down a new tweet. It's the pause before the label is a sacred space. Yeah, bro. So, you know how fear and excitement, mechanically, they're the same, right? Heart racing, muscles tightening, you know, but it's the valence, right? In psychology, we call it valence. So positive emotion like joy has a positive valence, where fear or these negative emotions are negative valence. So valence is like a term that means binding. So it's the label that binds us, right? Because when we label something, we make it very real for ourselves, right? If you think you're an addict and you stick that label on yourself, you're going to stay in those patterns. But if you say, oh no, this is just a tendency that I have, now we're playing with the reality. Now we're actually making it into this Play-Doh, because the only difference between fear and excitement, as far as I know, and I don't know the exact science, but it's just the amygdala that determines the difference. Mechanically, it's the same, right? So the way that I've seen fear and I've reframed it is there's a term, approach anxiety, right? First of all, there's no such thing as approach anxiety. It's not like some kind of syndrome. You know what I mean? It's just tension before you do an unknown thing or say hi to a stranger, which we have growing up. We're conditioned to think, don't talk to strangers and all this bullshit, right? And so we automatically have this tribal mentality of, I'm going to get outcasted from the tribe. There's this bad thing that's going to happen to me. There's all that pre-programming is already there. And now we've stuck a label on it, approach anxiety. And now we're actually crippling ourselves with this label. Instead, I heard AZD talk about this with Vince Kelvin once in a very long, it was like one of his podcasts, really old ones, right? Where you had to call in the number and shit, like that ancient time, right? And he said, I don't see it as approach anxiety. I see it as approach preparedness. So it's the car starting. It's like the vroom, that feeling of like tension actually gets you to say hi or do something about it. Because without it, you wouldn't feel any reason to do anything about that, right? There would just be sexual frustration and that's it. But the fact that vroom is the engine starting and you're actually going and saying something, it's telling your genetics that, hey, I need to do something with this, right? I need to survive. I need to say hi. I need to let my genes pass on. And so it's this chemical signaling that's telling you that this is okay. But we need to give you a little bit extra stress or energy so you can use it as an elastic band and have it pull you in the right direction, right? So
yeah, bro, I want to say something on that. It's like you know, you don't really turn on your game. You know, when you're around the right person, it just comes out right. That's just it. Like if you try to go up to a girl and it's all weird, like it's because, well, for one, not in alignment, not in alignment with this person. That's it. Like if you're genuinely cool and this person is just like not vibing it, it didn't have nothing to do with you. It had more to do with the other person not being in your frequency. So, but like whenever, like for me, I believe that if it's meant to be, it's gonna be simple. It's gonna be easy. I'm not gonna have to text a bunch of times. I'm not gonna have to, wonder if she's gonna make it to the date or not. Like blah blah blah. All of that stuff is just it's just out of alignment. When it's in alignment, it's either a fuck yes or an right? And if it's fuck yes, that's it. That's what I'm living. That's what I want. That's what I'm here for. And obviously not everyone's gonna be like that. That's fine. But when it's there, it's there. When it's there, it's supposed to be easy. It's supposed to be. It's the same way that you meet friends and shit, right? When you meet, like, there's like a friend that you meet, you're like, oh, hey, what's up, da, da, da. You know, first day of school type shit. You fucking just sat down next to somebody, you started talking about, they were fucking cool. It's literally supposed to be that easy. It's if you think it's not, well, then you're gonna make it not.
Bro, I remember this is relevant to me and Ivan because we both went to the same university. But bro, when I first met Ahmed, remember Ahmed?
Mhm.
Yeah, when I first met him, like we were in the international office, like where the international students had to sign in. And I just remember like he was just in the line next to me, and I was just like, "Yo, what's up?" And that's how we started talking first. And then we became really good friends, like just from that initial, that dialogue that started this ripple effect. So yeah, it's like sometimes the other person is thinking like, yo, I should say hi, I should probably say something, or it's gonna get awkward, but then they don't say something, right? And so always be the first one to just be like, yo, what's up? Like just break the ice, be the icebreaker. Like there's so many great opportunities in life that opened up for me the moment I chose to say fuck yes to that moment, and so like always take that chance, even if they're not meant for you and they ignore you. That's cool. Like too bad, like the reality didn't match or out of alignment, like you said, Ivan, right? So, but when the alignment is there, it's purely it's a majestic experience. I mean, you can't even describe it the way that sometimes two people link up, or the way that we all found each other. And Arash is this supposed Hermes Trismegistus reborn, bringing in all of these freaking people from different dimensions, probably. Like we could live that storyline actually, right? Just from that label itself of AZD saying, "Yo, I'm Hermes reborn. I'm here to collect the other gods in this video game of life, and let's go and spark a change and make something happen and make our own tribes from there." So it's like the spider web. Like I like that reality. I think like that's cool as fuck. You know what I mean? So I think we should all embrace the fact that these teachings are living on through each of our characters, and our lineage is being passed on. And who knows, maybe our sons one day, or someone even related to us will consume these teachings or watch this on YouTube or something and just expand.
Exactly, bro. Exactly. That's what it is about it. It living through you, right? It's like people say the new age spirituality is like, oh, do affirmations. If you do affirmations, they're gonna work. The affirmations don't work, just so you know. Because essentially you're telling yourself, it's the same thing as like telling yourself, I can breathe. I can breathe. I can breathe. somebody who's successful is not sitting in the mirror like, I'm successful. I'm successful. Is the same shit as literally saying, I can breathe. I can breathe. Right? However, still though, I still remind myself. I have reminders, which are, you can call them affirmations still. But the affirmation lives through me. It's not I'm living through the affirmation. Right? I'm the portal. You are the portal. You're the doorway.
The 0 point.
You're the 0 point. Hey, by the way, it's like 11 right now. It's like 11:01, gangsta. So we can dippity dots.
Yeah, guys. So how do you guys handle one thing? Even before I stepped into the, how do you handle staying quote unquote independent minded while being a part of the tribe and really seeing what this brings? So to frame this, AZD teaches being independently minded. Of course, don't be the sheep.
Mhm.
But for me personally, the influence is strong. There isn't even a single day that passes without myself even comparing myself to him or seeing or his philosophy influencing my mind. So, and
Yeah.
sometimes, since you mentioned DC and how he didn't want to live in this world, sometimes it's kind of nerving. It has nothing to do with Tarash specifically. In fact, that is an interesting form of, when you tell somebody that they did well, it's a praise, right? Because his words and his truth is so influential that I cannot get rid of it. So do you guys have do you guys have
bro,
that problem?
It's for me, it's very simple. I take what I want and I discard the rest. That's it. It's like, if it's gonna serve me, it's gonna serve me, and if it's not gonna serve me, if it's like let's just say there'll be certain terminology that he uses and I'll put a different label on it. I'll put a different name on it, right? Because if I use that terminology, it's not gonna work for me. It's actually gonna fuck me over, right? And so I just extract. I'm just there to extract, so that's it. That's really it for me. It's not, I don't try to make it too complex about whether it's right or wrong, something's right or wrong. I just I see greatness, right? And greatness wants to be around greatness. Just that's it. Greatness wants to be around greatness. And so if I try to copy Michael Jordan's philosophy into my shit, it might not work. It might, I might get some success in a little bit, but it might just mess me up, right? And so it's just kind of there of like to get inspired, to feel inspired by somebody's passion, right? And I'm there for the brotherhood. Like for me, I'm there for all the brothers, and all the brothers can tell you that I'm there for them. Like I'm real with them. I keep it real with them always, right? And they keep it real with me always. Ever since I visited the base actually, and everyone's nice, but they're not like nice guy nice, they're like, it's a different kind of nice. It's the kind of nice where like you could be mean, you could be bad, but you choose to be, but there's so much respect that it's that kind of nice, that respect nice, And so I'm there for the brothers, and I'm there for because there's other people who think like me, right? And so AZD put all these people together, right? He inspired this group to come together, the IMC Mastermind, right? And I like being a part of that mind, and I like to share my mind with all these other people as well, right? Who can actually understand what the fuck I'm saying, right? Because if you try these conversations that we're having, not everybody understands them, and it's annoying. It could be really annoying when you're wanting to preach and wanting to speak, but they think you're crazy. But over here, they don't think I'm crazy. Over here, they don't think I'm crazy, you know? And so yeah, that's how I feel about it. You know, I'm here for the brothers, I'm here for all of you guys. And I'm here for the love. I'm here for the mind.
Word up, man. I have a quick response to what you said, and it relates to bioenergetics. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with bioenergetics, Felix.
Oh, wait. Okay. My mic is on, and it's your script. Bioenergy. I mean, it depends on the context, man.
Yeah,
I know
so
something, but I don't know a lot of things.
Wilhelm Reich has this idea of the bioenergetic profiles, right? And basically,
Okay.
there's a character archetype of the schizoid, which is my character archetype, where it means that you're basically your underlying feature of the character is rejection, and it's an individual who's out of touch with reality, right? So basically,
could you elaborate on that, because it seems to be really deep?
Yeah, it's very deep. So that's why I can't really. I mean, we'd have to speak for hours on this, but I have a video on it. I'll link that to you to understand.
Yeah, please do.
However, basically what it is very thinking people, right? People who are very in their mind. They're more prone or more susceptible to groupthink or ideas or these kinds of things. So the thing about it is when it comes down to being yourself, you have to teach yourself how to be grounded and be in touch with your own reality. Like this is something that I had to teach myself, right, over the many years, is to how I can be the master of my own world. Of course, the AZD tech is inspiring to me. It's like a symbiote, right? It attaches to me, and like I use it in whatever I'm doing. And you know, it's the idea is that AZD doesn't want me to be an AZD clone. You know what I mean? Like, and I know that at the bottom of my heart, he wants me to be the best version of me, right? Full stop. Like, just like Buddha doesn't want you to be a Buddha clone. You know what I mean? It's like there's too many people trying to, you know, take in the teachings and become the next version of that person. You know what I mean? But I think that it's important to take the tech, take the teachings, and apply your own spin to it. That's why I think I got the title of Dr. Scripps, not because I was copying other people, but because I was looking at AZD tech through my own eyes and through what I'm good at. Right? So for you, Felix, you got to just be like, okay, I know my shit, right? I know who I am, and this is what it is, and keep implementing that. At the same time, understanding that it has value for the tribe. But yeah, I wanted to bring that schizoid thing into your world, because I think it's helped me, right? Because one of my core beliefs is I do not belong, right? And through a lot of shadow work, I discovered that. And from that, I now speak to myself in a way where I actually administer tribe, and like I do feel like I exist here for a reason, and I'm here with my purpose and all these things. And so those were one, like that was a missing piece for me that I had to acclimatize to change my character in a sense. So the groundedness is really important.
Yeah, you gotta want to be yourself more than wanting to be anybody else.
I want to touch upon that, man. I want to touch upon that.
Go ahead.
Now, what I've observed, Felix, from all of us, be it Sultan, be it Alejandro, be it Samin, be it myself, we all are using the IMC technology to better our minds, to better our lives, to figure out a way to answer the challenges that come up in our lives. You see what I mean? But I am still myself, because at the end of the day, only I can do the work. It's like coaching 101. easily can give me suggestions, but only if I, one, act upon those suggestions, and two, actually start to implement these suggestions into my own system, will I be successful. Is why phase one was, with the work of the cold showers, with the proper building of the beasts, where you need to figure out a way to become what the idea of IMC represents in our own way. Is very similar to what Heath Ledger did when acting the Joker. He's not a clone of something else. He's the interpretation and the expression of what he believes is so. Do you understand what I mean? So, in the end of the day, for me personally, and I believe for everyone else, it might be different, might be slightly different, might be similar, is I am trying to get the tools to delve deeper into myself and find what is truly there, and also build upon that. Because usually on the path of, what you're trying to avoid, what you fear, is where you meet your destiny. Do you understand what I mean?
Could you repeat the last sentence?
What I'm saying is, on the path of, facing what you fear is where you meet your destiny. It's the whole idea of I am a man, I'm a beast made for conflict, which is the meta message of the phase one thing. And in that, because all of us are going through this pain, that is this metamorphosis of character, of identity, of challenging deep-rooted traumas, that we bond together, where we become a brotherhood. Now,
I just got a visual as you said that, Ryan. I imagine someone like so weird, but I imagine someone with armor, and someone is like trying to melt the armor with fire, and they basically they take the pain of just like, it's hot, and they fucking make a weapon out of it.
That's funny, because that's literally the story of Deathstroke.
No way.
Yep. He got blinded in one eye, and that became his symbology. That's how the whole Deathstroke character came about. And the Deathstroke character is the original Deadpool. Deadpool being one of the characters that I portray a lot.
That's cool.
But in essence, Deadpool is Deathstroke, but psychotic and in humor of the world, because I can actually laugh at the ridiculousness that happens around us. Be it, girls teasing and me teasing back, me still struggling with my thesis, etc., etc. So at the end of the day, I can be an individual and still be part of the tribe, because I realize that my value to the tribe is not as a clone of the tribe, but as the individual that brings a unique value, a unique, useful value to the tribe. Do you understand what I mean, Felix?
Trying to get my head around it.
So basically,
I have some traumas.
we all have traumas, man. I mean, shit. Where do we even start, man? At this point, we have a list. We can check it twice. We can have a bingo match who had a which trauma, but at the end of the day, the trauma is only pain-free relative to the person himself in this case. Do you understand?
No.
So basically, what is painful
Traumas
for me
are
might not be painful for
pain-free.
you.
Which traumas are pain-free compared to the person?
Well, for instance, if you haven't been in a very tough fight before, you wouldn't know what it is. Do you understand? It's like
Yes.
very similarly to
Yes.
if you talk to someone who's never shot a gun or hasn't even been into a fight, would not understand the pain that means to go through it and being beaten up, only to realize, hey, if I do martial arts, I might have a fighting chance. It's that story that they didn't go through yet. Do you understand? And it's similar to traumas. If you haven't been through that, you wouldn't know. And some people have responded in a different way to that trauma, just being less, let's say, quote unquote, damaged, as opposed to me still struggling with no dumb bullshit. Do you understand what I mean, Felix? Now, this has nothing per se to do with reality hopping, other than in some cases, I'm letting the trauma dictate the reality. I think I'm correct in stating that, Sumi, because as you let the trauma dictate, it's the same thing as using that trauma as a crutch or story plot to that continues in the vibe that is your life, but it's on repeat. But the moment you start to realize, like, wait a minute, what if the universe needed me to go through this so that I can have character development? In that, I can find my peace. Because as Rumi says, in the pain you will find your answer. Thus, as I've heard from Sumit, women in the UK apparently called paintings, which is funny because it's literally a derivation of pain dash ting. Because through them we find out more.
So the word passion means to suffer.
The word passion means to suffer. And this comes from Pete Kirkwood. He said it well. He who knows how to suffer well will live a good life.
Yeah, it's what you choose to suffer. Like, you could suffer by sitting on the couch eating potato chips, but that's weird suffering. I'd rather suffer by hanging on some fucking pull-up bar for like a minute. You know, like, I choose that version of suffering to the one which is very passive and like I'm sort of like a snail. You know, so we have to choose. There is this passive suffering that we give ourselves. The thing about it is you have a pain, and then you have a mild pleasure afterwards. Because one, it could be that, oh, you have a pain, now I'm away from that pain, so you feel pleasure. I don't have that pain anymore. Or it could be the fact that, okay, I'm actually actively giving myself positive pain, like doing the gym. I feel good, I feel euphoric, good endorphins afterwards, right? But if you give yourself a pleasure, there's a mild pain afterwards. It's like when you watch a YouTube video, the mild pain afterwards is, I need to watch another one.
Oh,
right?
Nice.
You see what I'm saying? So there's always this pain pleasure principle that's working. And sometimes it's working behind the scenes. So we need to put ourselves through the pain so the mild pleasure is our norm. But even if there is pain in our life, we can notice that there is this pleasure that's going to happen as a result of us. So there's this term called post-traumatic growth in positive psychology.
Nice. Breakups, right?
Yeah, after you go through any kind of different, trauma, there's a way that you can really grow from it. So like breakups is an example. How a lot of people, I'm sure a lot of you guys who've been through breakups, like, it's incredible for character development, right? We just became completely different people. And so, yeah, man, that's something to look into as well. But I know we're running out of time. Yeah, thank you, Ivan. We're wrapping up. Have an incredible rest of your day, guys, and we'll talk soon.
Yeah, guys. Thank you.
Goodbye, guys.